Elliot had spent years chasing something he couldn't quite name. His life had been a constant cycle of deadlines, emails, phone calls, and expectations. He had climbed the corporate ladder, moved from one crowded city to another, filled his days with plans, projects, and goals. And yet, despite the success, there was an emptiness inside him, like a song with missing notes, a painting without color. One morning, in the dim light of his apartment, he looked at his reflection in the window. The man staring back at him seemed distant, like a stranger he barely recognized. The thought struck him suddenly. What would happen if I just left? Not forever, but for long enough to remember who he was before the world told him who he should be. And so, without overthinking, he packed a small bag, locked his door, and bought a train ticket to nowhere in particular. The first stop, the train rocked gently as it moved through the countryside, past golden fields, sleepy villages, and dense forests. He watched as the morning fog clung to the trees like a dream reluctant to fade. The further he traveled, the lighter he felt. At the third stop, in a town whose name he didn't know, he stepped off the train. There was no reason, just a quiet pull, a feeling that he should be there. The station was small, just a wooden bench and a faded sign. A narrow road led into the village, where old stone houses stood with ivy climbing their walls. The scent of freshly baked bread drifted from a nearby bakery. A woman sat outside a shop, knitting, her hands moving in a slow, practiced rhythm. Elliot wandered through the village, taking in the details. The cobblestone streets were uneven, worn smooth by time. There was a fountain in the center, where children laughed and played. An elderly man sat on a bench reading a book, his face calm, unhurried. It was the slowness of the place that struck Elliot the most. No one was rushing. No one was checking their phone. No one was pretending to be busy. He found an inn at the edge of the village, a charming place with wooden shutters and flower boxes under the windows. The innkeeper, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and kind eyes, greeted him with a smile. "Traveling alone?" she asked, handing him a brass key. "For now," Elliot replied. His room overlooked the valley, where mist curled over the treetops. He left the window open and let the cool breeze carry away the last remnants of the life he had left behind. A slower pace. In the days that followed, Elliot settled into the rhythm of the village. He woke early, walked through the meadows, and watched the sunrise paint the sky in soft pinks and oranges. He had breakfast at the cafe, where he learned to appreciate the slow ritual of coffee. How the old man stirred his cup with patience. How the barista took pride in every pour. He visited the bookstore, where the owner, a woman named Isabel, spoke about books as if they were old friends. He helped the baker carry sacks of flour, and in return was given warm bread straight from the oven. He spent afternoons by the lake, watching the way the water reflected the sky, how the ripples moved like whispered secrets. He sketched in a notebook, something he hadn't done in years, rediscovering the joy of creating for no reason other than the pleasure of it. Conversations with strangers. One evening, as he sat by the fire in the inn's common room, the old man from the cafe joined him. "You remind me of someone?" the man said, lighting a pipe. "Who?" Elliot asked. "Myself, many years ago." Elliot waited, sensing there was more. "I came here thinking I'd only stay a few days," the man continued, exhaling a thin stream of smoke. "That was 20 years ago." Elliot smiled. "I don't think I can stay that long." The man chuckled. "That's what I said too." They sat in silence for a while, the fire crackling between them. Let me give you some advice, the old man said finally. Don't rush to go back. The world will still be there. But you might not be the same when you return. A new understanding. Weeks passed, and Elliot felt the weight he had carried for years begin to lift. The constant need to prove something, to be someone, no longer mattered. He had found a version of himself that wasn't defined by his job, his achievements, or the expectations of others. One afternoon, while walking through a field of lavender, he realized something had always been searching for this. Not a specific place, not an adventure, but a feeling. The feeling of being present. That night, as he sat by the lake, watching the stars shimmer on the water, he made a quiet decision. He would go back, but he would not return the same. He would carry this stillness with him, this understanding that life wasn't meant to be rushed through. The next morning, he packed his bag, said his goodbyes, and boarded the train once more. As the village faded into the distance, he closed his eyes and smiled. He wasn't escaping. He was arriving at himself.